So earlier today, I was taking some time trying to compare Joe Barry and the Packers defense last season with Barry as the defensive coordinator, and then Jeff Hafley and this Packers defense this season with Hafley as the new coordinator. And honestly, there's a lot of numbers that are very, very similar. A few of those currently, they have the same, they're ranked the same when it comes to scoring defense. Joe Barry last year, 10th. Jeff Hafley this year, 10th. Last season, the Packers were 17th in yards allowed. Currently, they're 12th, so a little bit better there. The biggest difference, I think, has been the turnovers, with the Packers forcing a lot more this season, barely any under Joe Barry. I do think Xavier McKinney helps a lot in that area. But the biggest difference has been the Packers' pass rush. Under Joe Barry, they were 6th in pressure percentage, according to NFL Pro, getting pressure 39.9% of the time. They have dropped from 6th last year to currently 26th in the NFL in pressure rate at 31%. So 39.9% last year, 31% this year. And so thinking about that, it's like what's the reason here? What's the biggest difference? And I think we have a ton of the same guys. Of course, Preston Smith is now gone. And I would have to believe that it has to do with moving from the 3-4 to the 4-3. I was reading some quotes from PackersNews.com article. I think it was Ryan Wood, and Kenny Clark and Lucas Van Ness were talking about how they haven't really produced exactly how they want to, and it sounds to me like it has to do with just the difference in scheme and sort of what Jeff Hafley is asking these guys to do. In lots of these games against some of the more mobile quarterbacks, they were really trying to contain and not allow certain guys like Jalen Hurts, Anthony Richardson to escape the pocket. This past week, that didn't seem to be the plan. Kenny Clark had brought up how the Packers weren't expecting Williams to run because he hadn't done it with the prior offensive coordinator. But for the most part, there have been a lot of games with mobile quarterbacks where they haven't really been quite as aggressive and they've just been trying to contain. I do think that factors into it a little bit, but it's pretty crazy to see the difference from Barry to Jeff Hafley. And luckily, it looks like Rashawn Gary is finally starting to get things clicking. He's been a lot more productive these past few weeks than earlier in the season. And now my question is, can guys like Kenny Clark, who I think hasn't had a pressure in maybe 3 or 4 weeks, Lucas Van Ness hasn't been very good, can these other Packers pass rushers really start to get things going? Or is this just what we're going to see from this Jeff Hafley defense? And the thing is, I think overall Hafley has a better defense than Joe Barry. The numbers aren't that different. Even if you look at rush yards per play allowed, it's actually the exact same currently. 4.4 rush yards per play allowed under Joe Barry, which is 23rd. This year, 4.4 rush yards per play allowed, which is 15th. So among the NFL, it looks like teams are having a little bit more difficulty stopping the run overall this year. And as well with pass yards allowed per play, under Joe Barry, 6.2 pass yards allowed per play, 17th. Under Hafley, 6.1 pass yards allowed per play at 17th. So many of these stats are basically identical. I think the biggest difference in the way, a couple reasons that that Jeff Hafley's defense has been better is the way that Hafley likes to call third downs. It seems to me that overall, the Packers are much more aggressive on third down this year than they had been in years past. It feels like there's a lot more man coverage on third down than last year, and it looks like Hafley dials up a lot of different pressures and disguises when it comes to third down to try to throw off the quarterback. And that has led to the Packers' third down defense being better. Currently 13th in the NFL in third down conversions allowed at 36.13%. Under Joe Barry, it was 28th, nearly bottom of the league at 43.75%. So I think that's been the biggest area we've seen Hafley be more aggressive on third downs, which has led to the Packers being more productive. And then the biggest thing has been the turnovers overall with the Packers. Still up there in the league. Didn't get one last week, but that has been the biggest difference. So all in all, after, 10 or 11 weeks, wherever we are right now, I do prefer Jeff Hafley over Joe Barry in a lot of ways, just because, come third down, he's a lot more effective with his play calling. But I still think overall, it's not like there's a night and day difference from last year. And as I said, the pass rush has been way worse under Jeff Hafley. So some interesting stats there to take a look at. But if you want more Packers content, feel free to subscribe down below, and I'll see you guys next time.